Tissues Flip Classroom Part 3. The membranes. Talk about the mucous membranes. Because mucus is your friend! Epithelial tissue is mainly what contains the mucus-producing cells, the goblet cells, and it's on top of loose connective tissue, which holds it down to the rest of the body. It does contain mucus-producing cells called goblet cells, and there's also mucous neck cells. So the reddish purplish stained cells in this particular slide are the goblet cells, which produce the mucus. And usually those are found amongst the pseudostratified columnar epithelia, because the pseudostratified is the cilia, which moves the mucus. The serous membranes is just a review, basically, of what we did right off the bat in August. They're just a simple squamous epithelium on top of loose connective tissue, which protects organs from friction. So if you remember, pericardium around the heart, we had the pleura membranes around the lungs, and the peritoneum around the abdominal cavity. And of course the kidneys are retroperitoneal, they're stuck behind it. There are various other membranes that cover or line the body. For example, around bones, it's called periosteum, peri around, osteo referring to bone. And that's a lot of jumping around. Alright, next topic, inflammation. This is with tissues. They become inflamed. Inflammation is actually a good thing when tissues are damaged. A lot of athletes like to ice it, but what that does is restricts the inflammation and restricts the healing properties that are kicking in there. You've got all sorts of different tissues opening up so blood can get in, antibodies can get in, different chemicals in the body can get in to fight the infection or help repair. So itis is the suffix referred to for inflammation. If you have tonsillitis, it's inflammation of your tonsils. If you have hepatitis, it's inflammation of your hepato or liver. If you have appendicitis, inflammation of your appendix. So 5 major symptoms with inflammation are the redness, the swelling, the pain, the heat, you can actually feel heat, and disturbance of function. You don't really function as well when you're inflamed. Tissue repair is our next topic, and there's 3 basic types of tissue repair. There's substitution of viable new cells for dead cells of the same type. That's called regeneration. For instance, right now, you are sloughing off stratified squamous epithelial. At the same time, your base layer is producing more stratified squamous epithelial tissue. So epithelial for epithelial, same stuff. It's called regeneration. It's regenerating. A cut in your hand heals with stratified squamous epithelial tissue. Replacement is if you got a really bad cut, it's like a gouge, and now you don't have enough stratified squamous epithelial to fill the gap, so you put some connective tissue in there and make a cute little scar, which pretty much stays there, unless you rub it really hard and break up the collagen fibers and help that stratified squamous fill back in. There are 3 tissue types based upon the ability to divide and produce new cells. There's the labile cells, which continue to divide throughout your life. For instance, your stratified squamous epithelial. The base layer is constantly dividing, so they're labile. You're constantly producing new cells, which will slough off at the surface and carry the bacteria away from you. So examples are your skin and mucous membranes. There's the stable cells. They do not continue to divide, but if you have an injury, they can repair themselves. So connective tissue, glands, your liver. Then there's permanent cells. They have little or no ability to divide. They're replaced by connective or scar tissue. For example, your nerves. If you sever a nerve, they put it back together, it can re-anneal, but if you cut a nerve, chances are it's not going to replace itself. Alright, topic number 8, cancer. Cancer can be broken down into 2 words. Uncontrolled mitosis. It's just cells which all of a sudden that stop signal isn't recognized anymore, and they continue to grow. So if cancer is just uncontrolled cell growth, why is it bad? Because too much of a good thing is a bad thing. When the cells grow, they can get too big and push out other cells, other tissues. They can block out, cut off blood flow. And they can metastasize and spread to other organs and make them grow uncontrollably. And that's not good. So here we have in the picture some nice skin cancer. So malignant tumor is just a clump of cancerous cells. Basically, a malignant tumor is a cancerous mass of tissue, and those cells are still growing uncontrollably. A carcinogen is basically any chemical that can cause a mutation in the DNA, which leads to uncontrolled cell growth. You can find carcinogens in cigarettes, tobacco products, in petroleum products, in food additives. You can find it in the pollution spewing out of the cars in front of you. And too much of a good thing is not a good thing. Too much sun can lead to a sunburn, caused to many mutations, causing a lot of thymine dimers, which, if they're not corrected like your body normally corrects them, can lead to skin cancer. Alright, metastasis is the movement of cancerous cells throughout the body. They usually move by way of the blood or lymph, which basically when the blood fluids leave the bloodstream and become interstitial fluid, they return through the lymph tissue as lymph fluid back into the blood. So if something, a cancer cell breaks off, and it's a cancer cell traveling through the body by way of the blood and lodges somewhere like in your liver and starts growing there, that tumor is said to have metastasized. So metastasis or metastasized, either one of those words means to travel through the body. So here's an example. Original tumor breaks off, it travels through the lymph or the blood, it lodges somewhere else, so it's metastasized by the process of metastasis. A malignant tumor is one where it spreads and can metastasize and is really nasty. A benign tumor, such as a lipoma, like a fat tumor, is encased. It's not considered to be cancerous because it stays in a nice little packet. It does not spread. And usually doesn't return when you've removed it. An example again is lipoma. One of the most benign tumors out there. Just a fat mass. If you have old dogs, you've probably seen them growing off your dogs. Alright, which brings us to the end. Study your lab, look over your CLA packet, look over your notes, read through the textbook, look over the PowerPoint notes again, ask questions in class, use your textbook to your advantage. Don't cram, study every day.